Hi friends, this is Del the beekeeper, and I'm just taking a look at the famous beehive from Union Market. This queen is simply amazing. Look how many bees are up on top of the frames in here. This is a very populated hive, and I took an earlier look this morning when I had a guest over for a media interview, and I noticed some swarm cells. So that queen has laid so many eggs that they are preparing to swarm again to move themselves to create a new home. So I'm going to take a look. I might do some mitigation. Maybe I'll take some frames of eggs and brood out of this hive and move them to a weaker hive and give them some empty frames to slow that urge down. They might have already swarmed, but I don't think so when I look at this population, but they look like they're very close to it. So we'll take a look. Come along with me. So the first thing I do is I blow a little bit of smoke onto them, not a lot, just a little bit to calm them down. If you blow a lot of smoke on them, it really agitates them, and they don't like it, and it kind of throws them off. Every time we go into the beehive um, and we do excessive inspections, it sets them back a little bit. I want them to be working. They're gathering nectar and honey from Washington, D.C. right now. We have beautiful trees in this city, and many of them produce nectar, like linden trees and black locust trees and tulip poplar trees. This frame is full of pollen and some honey. So this is honey up here. This colorful stuff down here is pollen that they've stuffed in there. They bring that pollen in baskets in their legs, and then they stuff it in these cells and they mix it up with some nectar and different things, and they make it into something we call bee bread. That's their source of protein in the wintertime. So that's a nice healthy frame of food. Now there's a queen cell right there that's starting to be developed. Let me take a look to see if there's an egg in there. I think there is a little egg in there. Yep, there's an egg inside that queen cell. So the queen has been here recently. She's laid an egg right inside there, and they would build that out and fill it full of a food, highly nutritious food called royal jelly. And I don't want them to swarm, so I'm going to kill that egg. Sorry, sweetie. Um, that royal jelly, it's highly nutritious, allows the bee to develop her ovaries, her reproductive organs. Shortly before these new queens will be born, the mother queen and about half the hive will leave in a swarm. And this is the one that was on the internet that was at Union Market. So beautiful. It's just a huge swarm. Maybe I should have given them some more room. I use a process of beekeeping where I keep all the bees, the queen and the brood, the baby bees, in one box. It's called single brood chamber beekeeping, which means I have to watch them a little more carefully because they can run out of room and swarm easily. I find that to be a little bit more efficient. So this one's just mainly filled with pollen and nectar. You can see the shiny nectar in there. And I'm also looking for the queen, Her Majesty. I don't think I'll find her on that frame. Bees are very gentle this time of year. It's sunny, it's in the middle of the day. About half of the bees are actually out foraging right now. So it's a good time to work. I can work without extra protection. I can work in my bare hands. I might get stung if I smush a bee accidentally in the hand, but I probably won't. Later in the year, they become a little more defensive. because the bees actually rob from each other when there's no nectar available. Right now there's a lot of nectar, so they're not worried about robbing from each other. They actually they send out an army, they send spies out. When they find a colony they think they can overtake, they'll send an army of sisters out to invade that hive, and they'll have an epic battle. And if they can, they'll steal their honey. Here's another queen cell. It's being made. They make them all the time, just in case they need to. That one didn't have an egg in it. I'm not seeing any eggs or larvae, however. Not yet. I haven't seen the queen yet. These bees from that Union Market swarm. This is one where I retrieved the swarm with my bare hands off the sign. Oh, there's a queen cell right there. You see it? See this great, big, beautiful queen cell? Right there. They were so gentle that day, and they're gentle today, too. I saw that queen cell earlier, and the interesting thing is there's not a queen in there. But it's a fully developed queen cell. Makes me wonder if maybe a queen already emerged out of there, but I don't think so. But if I don't see any eggs in here, that is exactly what will happen. They've already swarmed, and the new queen hasn't started laying new eggs. Now, there's new eggs in this one here, so I know they haven't swarmed yet. There's a queen cell that got mushed a little bit when I pulled the frame out. So there's a queen bee inside here, but I'm afraid she's injured. This is what she looks like on the inside. It says she's developing. I'm sorry, sweetie. The queen inside here, I marked her red after I brought the swarm home from Union Market. We have a numbering or a coloring system, a color coding system. It's international for beekeepers. The red marks on a queen indicate that she was born last year, and green indicates that she's born this year. If I find a yellow queen, that means that she's 2 years old. That was the year before. But I'm looking for one bee with a red dot on her. Definitely getting ready to swarm because there's not a lot of eggs in here. Before they swarm, they put the queen bee on a diet, and they exercise her. The other bees actually move her around and exercise her, put her on a diet to make sure that she's able to fly to the new location. So I know that she has not been laying a lot of eggs recently. Just seen a couple. Sometimes the bees can cover up the queen cell. I don't see it. There's a couple right there. They're built, but they don't have an egg in it. What you're seeing here are bees. This is all capped. It's called capped brood. When they lay the eggs in here, the baby bees, their job is to feed the developing egg and larvae. And on the 7th day, I believe, they fill that cell up full of food, and they cap it. And then on the 18th day, the worker bee will actually eat her way out of the cell. I'll show you one if I can see where one is coming out.
of bees on this in this hive. It tells me they haven't swarmed yet, but they're actually getting pretty close to it. Sure would like to prevent that. I want those bees. They take a lot of honey with them too. They have honey stomachs that they can actually gorge themselves with before they leave because they need that honey for food for their next place. They literally start from scratch. They go, they fly out and land on a tree or a sign or something, and then they have a committee that goes out and searches for their permanent home. They have very good eyes to see the eggs inside these cells. Some wearing reading glasses. Number 2, strength. Even that, it's a little bit difficult to see. This one's filled with nectar. Oh yeah, these don't run. I sure would like to find that queen. If I can find her, I could actually take her and put her in a different hive and let them make a new queen. And take some other bees, and that would prevent them from swarming. Well, it would potentially prevent them from swarming. Sometimes the bees do whatever they want to do. The beekeeper tries to manage them, but the bees are smarter than the beekeeper. They know their needs and they know what they need to do. I have to go back through them again because I sure would like to find the mother queen. This one's full of nectar. I'm looking for one bee out of about 100,000. Lucky if I see her. If I could just see a lot of eggs, I would know she's in there. But I did see a few eggs, not very many. If you're enjoying this little video, sometimes I don't talk a lot. So I'm concentrating on looking for eggs and looking for signs that the queen is in here. We're kind of down to the tail end of the swarming season. However, they'll swarm. They'll continue. The bees will continue to swarm. Like this one, I think has either swarmed or is going to swarm very soon. There's not as many as there were a couple weeks ago. One of the reasons they swarm, if you look at here, there's no room to lay eggs. It's just completely full of developing brood. These are all going to be new bees. There's about 3,000 bees on this frame, with 3,000 eggs, and there's probably about 1,500 or 2,000 bees on there. That mother queen, especially this queen from Union Market, she was probably laying 1,000 or 1,500 eggs per day. So imagine in a month, that's 45,000 new bees. Of course, bees are dying every day too. The poor women, the worker bees, which are the females, those poor things, they live their life for their sisters, and they literally work themselves to death. They fly so much, getting nectar and pollen, that their wings wear out and they can't fly anymore. Sometimes I see the sad little bees on the ground and they can't fly. Their wings are all frayed. The men bees, on the other hand, they have a life of leisure. They eat a lot. They actually take naps. And every day they fly out to one place in this neighborhood called the drone congregating area, where they and the drones, the males from all the other hives in the neighborhood, hang out waiting for a queen bee, a virgin queen bee, to come by. And just a few of those bees will mate with those virgin queen bees and fulfill their destiny. But the lucky or unlucky male that they mate up in the air, the lucky or unlucky one that mates with her, actually dies after he puts his penis inside her and then gives her the sperm. It's like a fish hook. It goes in and it doesn't come out very easily, and falls backwards, rips his abdomen out, falls to his death knowing he fulfilled his destiny. And all the other guys are like, hey, all right, good for George. Break time. So they just hang around. The virgin queens, they'll mate for about a week after they're born. They can mate with 10 or 20 males. And they can get 5 to 8 million sperm cells. That's how many bees they can have in their lifetime. Queen bee can live 3 or 4 years. Many, many bees. I just don't see her in here. I sure do wish I would see her. She's such a valuable asset because of she's just such a productive queen. It'd be a shame if she flew off with half the hive. Of course, her daughters have that genetics. And hopefully they would breed with good drones that have good genetics. Actually, I'm using a flashlight to look inside there because I have a hard time seeing eggs, but I'm just not seeing them. There's a drone bee in my hand. One thing I like about beekeeping is it really makes me focus. I get distracted very easily. In my day job, I'm sitting around and get distracted. I'll get on Twitter and doom scroll about the current events. When I have a frame of honeybees in my hands, there's all these decisions I have to make immediately. Like, do I cut that queen cell out? Do I need to split this hive? Where's that queen? Constantly searching for her, one bee out of 100,000 or so. Are they healthy? Are they sick? Most importantly, is the queen there, and is she laying eggs? I don't see any eggs, so I think she has swarmed, or she's very close to swarming. There's so many bees in here, I'd have a hard time imagining that she has already swarmed. So I think that they are probably very, very close to swarming. However, there's not a lot of swarm cells. There's just a couple, and that's strange. It's always a possibility. When I was checking the bees before, I set a frame down on her and crushed the poor thing. And then they would make an emergency queen. They just take an egg and make a new queen cell out of it, go for it, and feed it. There's queen there. Well, folks, that is what a typical beekeeper does when he inspects a beehive. And in this case, I need to take some special notes, and I need to keep a very close eye on this hive. I'd sure like to mitigate them swarming, so I might actually take some of these frames full of eggs and brood. Actually, there's no eggs. It's all brood, developing brood. Put them in a weaker hive, because if they do swarm, I'd like to reduce the amount of bees they take with them anyway. And I think I also might put a frame in here with fresh laid eggs. And if for some reason they have lost their queen, they'll make a new queen. I can come back in a few days, and if I see that they've made queen cells out of those eggs, I'll know that they needed to make a new queen. Something happened to that wonderful queen from Union Market. This might have been the one that had the queen cell on it. Yeah, it is. That beautiful queen cell.
When they get ready to swarm, they make a lot more of these. They make 10 or 20 of these. And there's only this one, and it's empty, so it's a very strange thing. There's an egg in that one right there. There's an egg. I'm going to leave that one and just keep an eye on it. See if it develops into a full-fledged queen cell. There is some royal jelly down there, so there might be a queen cell, queen developing inside this one right here. So I'm going to leave this here. Very careful, I don't want to damage it. Make a little note on there. So when I can come back and I'll know which frame to look at. Queen cell. Jeez, what's the date today? 5/7. Okay, I hope you enjoyed coming along with me, and maybe I'll make another video where I see the queen and I can show you that. So enjoy your day, and thank you for joining me for another episode of Extreme Beekeeping with Del. Extreme City Beekeeping with Del. That's what I call it. Thanks.